Miracle 5. Victory from the Jaws of a Deficit. I suppose it would be easy to assume from the narrative so far that this miracle walk life is like owning a cosmic rabbit's foot, bathing all experiences with endless good luck and no suffering. Wrong. Dead wrong. In fact, I've discovered that some of the greatest gifts I've ever received from the hand of God have come in really ugly wrappings. The wrapping paper has looked a lot like disaster, defeat, deprivation, loss, rejection, suffering, and failure. I hate this, but don't have the power or authority to change His system. Once when I was in the throes of one of the worst circumstantial situations of my life, a missionary handed me a little card on which was written, "Difficulty is the environment for miracle. If it is to be a very great miracle, the environment is not difficulty, but impossibility." I guess it figures. If we learn anything about God from the Hebrew Scriptures and the New Testament, it is that He is the God of the rescue from the angel of death in the Egyptian Passover, the God of the Red Sea parting to the sounds of the hoofbeats of the Egyptian army, and the God of Jesus' resurrection after being tortured to death and spending 3 days in a cold, dark tomb. In the miracle walk, the supernatural is commonly preceded by all the awful dynamics that create hopelessness. Such was the situation for this miracle I'm calling Victory from the Jaws of a Deficit. My little college was growing and prospering like a weed. We were building buildings, expanding and upgrading faculty, offering extension classes in surrounding communities, and envisioning starting an FM radio station. Then, hard times hit. Cash flow dried up, and we were struggling to meet payables and payroll. I was a number of months behind drawing a paycheck, and the huge annual campus land payment was coming due. Everything looked hopeless. Even the chairman of my board of directors came to my office and unloaded on me as to how in denial I was about the financial crisis. "You're looking at a red light and calling it green," were his words. I responded, "I can see that the light is red. I just believe in a God who can turn it green." He looked at me as if I were an alien from outer space. The head of a large foundation, which had given generously to the college in the past, indicated that he had heard of the crisis. He asked me to bring all of our financials to his oceanfront home so he could evaluate our situation. I complied. Standing over the desk of this tough octogenarian home builder, I responded to questions about every line item on the financial balance sheet for nearly 2 hours. Remember, this was not a fundraising call, and I had no intent to ask him for money. When he was satisfied that he knew our situation completely, he sat back in his office chair and said, "Well, the only people who could really shut you down are the people who hold the mortgage on your land. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll pay off that mortgage as it comes due." I was stunned. That commitment represented hundreds of thousands of dollars. I said a feeble, "Thank you so much," and packed up my materials to leave. As I got into my car, an evil voice, not audible but in my mind, spoke to my inner person. "So he agreed to pay off your land payments. That did nothing to solve your current crisis. You won't make it through the month." I rebuked that message and whoever it was who planted it in my mind. A few days later, a lovely retirement-aged woman who loved the school called saying she had heard we were in a difficult financial position. She asked how much we needed to get through the month. After some quick calculation, I told her $20,000. There was a pause before she replied, "My accountant would probably advise otherwise, but I'll send you the $20,000. Out of the darkness of that financial crisis came the complete payoff of the campus debt and resources to keep the college alive to live another day, without any fundraising, but with a lot of prayer and faith. It seemed to me that it was out of the ordinary enough to qualify as a miracle.